Like Edwin Culler, Michael Wimberly Watson was too young to fight in the Civil War. But he grew up during the war, and a few years after it was over, he married Mary Matthews King. She was known as Molly. One of Molly's great-grandfathers was a captain who fought for our nation's freedom in the Revolutionary War. Michael Wimberly Watson and his wife Molly raised a family in this house, which still stands in Ridge Spring. Their second child was Albert Chandler Watson. There is no record of whether John Calhoun Williams fought in the war, although he was in the prime of his life, 25 years old, when the war began. 8 people named John Williams from the Barnwell district are listed as having served in the Confederate Army, but there is no way to definitively know if one of those was John Calhoun Williams. He and his wife had several children both before and after the war, but none were born during the 4 years of fighting. John Calhoun Williams' wife, Julia Chitty Williams, died in 1868, leaving behind 4 young children. Her second child, Hattie Urbana Williams, was born just as the war was starting. She was Annie Culler Watson's mother. John Williams remarried, and in 1874, when taxes were 60% of what a man made on his farm, he had to borrow money for farming expenses.
He had borrowed money, mortgaged his land, see. That's the only way you can borrow money, is to mortgage something. So he mortgaged his land and to buy material, to buy fertilizer, seed, and things like that for his crops. Because I would imagine he had to pay everything he made the year before in taxes, or he'd have lost his land in taxes, see. So he was mortgaging it, trying to keep afloat. Well, he couldn't pay it out. So he lost, we know of, 1,000 acres of land.
This was not uncommon during the time of Reconstruction. Poverty was widespread and taxes were very high.
Nobody could vote who had fought in the war, which was nearly every white man from the age of 15 to 60 or 65, something like that, they were going in. They didn't need a draft. These were men fighting for their state, for their land, for their homes. So I don't think we had any trouble with them, volunteering. None of them could vote. The blacks could vote, the black men. And the scalawags could vote. And the carpetbaggers could vote. So guess who got in the legislature? The blacks, the scalawags, the carpetbaggers ran the legislature. And they didn't have any land. And so the only taxes at the time was from land. They, not having to pay taxes, they raised the taxes an astronomical amount. So that, we have 2 or 3 instances in our family where they just, lost their land because they couldn't pay the taxes.
Determined to make a new start, John Calhoun Williams sold the rest of his assets and invested in land in Texas.
Because there was new land opening up in Texas.
In the meantime, his daughter, Hattie Urbana, married Edwin Lucius Culler, who was the youngest son of Jacob Culler. Leaving behind his daughter Hattie and one son who had moved to Charleston, John Williams, his pregnant wife Eugenia, and the rest of his family set out for San Antonio.
On the way, they were about to have a train wreck. 2 trains were about to collide on the railroad track, and said they told everybody to jump. So everybody jumped off the train. But great-granddaddy Williams' this was his second wife, his first wife had died. She was pregnant. And so when she jumped off the train, she had the child.
The child survived, but Eugenia did not.
Grandmama never told us about this, because I don't think they told Grandmama, because Grandmama was so soft-hearted. But the child lived, and that it was adopted by a Catholic charity there.
The 2 trains were stopped before they collided. Later, John tried to sue the railroad for the death of his wife, but nothing came of it.
When he got to San Antonio, He found out that he had dealt with a crooked lawyer and a crooked landowner. So he lost all the money that he had sent over there to buy the land. So he had no alternative but to come on home. And he didn't have anything left.
His daughter Hattie and her husband Edwin Culler invited John Calhoun Williams to live in the Limestone area near Orangeburg. On his land behind Limestone Church, Edwin built his father-in-law a house.
And our great-granddaddy, Williams, lived there until he died in 1905.